Hey guys, Kentucky One here. I'd like to say thank you for the overwhelming support for the idea of this series. I've got a lot of great ideas from some of my viewers. I hope to get a lot more. It's very much appreciated. So with that, we'll move on. Just thank you. I want to cover basic hand tools and the ideas of, what can they actually be used for? I know that a lot of people have been taught, right tool, right job. Well, sometimes you have to do what you got to do. As an electrician by trade, I carry a meter. I carry a flathead screwdriver that's long. I carry a 10-in-1 screwdriver so that I can do my Phillips. Nothing very hard because particular brand that I carry won't take a whole lot of downward force. I also carry an adjustable plier set. If anybody's familiar with these, 420 happens to be my favorite size of this particular brand. I call them channel hammers, if that gives you any idea. My favorite tool in my shop, being a hobby woodworker, are these by the same brand. Instead of being a side cut, they have I guess you would say a horizontal blade on them. And the reason why I like them so much is if I'm driving drywall screws or I need to pull a nail, they work great. With a little bit of pressure, I can put them in. And this particular board is actually screwed to my workbench right now. And as you can see, it just came from the workbench. And now we're going to pull it out of the 2x4. Apologize, my hand's in the way. It's just part of the way I actually work this particular tool. We got to remember this series is based on how can I get by without electricity. My batteries are all dead for my drills. I don't have electricity, whatever the case may be. But I have to do it all with manual tools. And as you can see, it's coming out. There we go. I will reuse this just so everybody knows I'm a big recycler. I totally believe in recycling things. To the point of I try to reuse almost everything. Pack radish, you might say. But that's one use of these tools. Another use. Let's say that you come across a shipping container that may have some things you want, but it's got the steel banding on it. Now I realize this is a little thinner than the regular steel banding, but if I have an adjustable plier and I have another tool that has straight, and we'll do a couple here just so you guys can see, I just tighten this down on there and I cut that right off. So I've cut that band and now I can get to the essential products that I need. Once again, we'll go ahead and use this adjustable wrench. This time we'll use a lineman plier. Just a couple of flat jaws together. It's not the most beautiful cut in the world, but we just got through that. There's a lot of things that you guys could use this for. We could bend this up now. We've got the sheet metal. We could bend this up, fish hooks. We could bend this up to make clamps for doing cabling. There's a lot of options that we have, being able to use our tools in a unorthodox manner. Something else that these are great for, pulling nails. So long as you don't put too much pressure on these, you can pull a nail right out. Now I'm not going to pull this nail out because I want to show you something else that can be done. Here's my lineman pliers again. I'm going to put them on that nail head and I'm going to drive this right into the bench with my channel locks. Now something to keep in mind is that part of this is preserving your tools. Now this is a little hard on the tool. This particular tool can handle a lot of abuse. I've used single sets of these for 5 and 6 years at a time before they broke, to give you an idea just how well this particular tool is actually made. But if we need to, there you go. Does it take all day? Yeah, this particular way, obviously the hammer is going to work. but this got us where we needed to be. And sometimes you just have to do what maybe you're broke down the side of the road. You just have to do what you have to do sometimes. I always carry a pair of these in my truck. There's a lot of people out there that might want to joke. I drive a Ford. It might be first on race day, or it might be found on the road dead. I might lean more towards the second part of that, but my truck's been good to me. It starts. It may not be the best, but it does start. But moving on, other options. Maybe you've got the right tool for cutting something like this tin. But I'll show you something else that's just fantastic. These are what most first responders, a first aid bag, should have in them. If they don't have, you'll notice it has a guide on it for going up on running along the skin, for cutting off like clothing. They'll also cut thicker metals. These will cut pennies in half. They'll cut this tin like butter. They're great. You can normally pick these up if you find a swap meet, if you go to a flea market, even online. I don't know what they would run, but I gave $5 for these at like a swap meet. They will cut body panel on older cars, I should say. I don't know about fiberglass, but they will cut older body. I had a 73 Mustang that used a set of these, and I cut a lot of the rust away on the body with them. And it was actually this particular pair, so that'll give you an idea. I've had these 20 plus years. They're still going strong. No issues with them at all. If it wasn't for the factor that I don't know about defacing money, we could cut a penny in half, and I'd show you they'd still cut a penny in half. However, we'll go back to using two sets of my favorite style of. This particular pair is a, let's see here, 440. Like I said, 420 is the size that I like the best. They don't cut the banding straps as such you would find on shipping crates as well, but they still will get the job done for you if it's all you're carrying in your vehicle. You got to remember that you've got tension on the banding strap, but as you can see, I've got one side and the other side. So you got to keep in mind uses for all your tools. This particular tool, good for taking off bolts, nuts, great for bending metal. Maybe you may need to make a cup to boil your water in. This will actually allow you to make a lip. You can roll it around. Actually, let's use this piece here. Maybe we need to make a catch. I don't know the proper name for what it is when you do this, but maybe we need to make a little catch. And as you can see, I've bent one side up, one side down. I roll it around. And I'm just going to crimp it along, as so. Now we can fold this out. Maybe we can put a bottom on this. Maybe we can boil some water in this. There's limitless possibilities with adjustable pliers. One thing you need to take into consideration is the teeth on these. That is what makes the difference between something that's good, something that's bad. Something as simple as just a little scrubby pad, cleaning these teeth off. Now they're actually good for some minor plumbing. Are they as good as a pipe wrench? No, they're not. But once again, maybe I'm on the side of the road. Maybe I've got a coolant leak. Maybe I can clean these out and I can get a hold of the pipe. I can crimp it off. I can do what I need to do to continue on as far as I need to go. Maybe I just need to go a couple more miles. This will get it done for me. These tools have been great. I've even seen guys that I've worked with, mechanics normally, electricians, they like to keep the handles on there, the plastic handle on their tools. But I've seen mechanics that they've taken the plastic off, they've ground it into a flathead screwdriver. Works fantastic. I mean, talk about leverage. You can put that on there, you've got a handle hanging out. I mean, it's basically a T-handle. You've got all the leverage in the world, and the steel that these are made of, which I couldn't tell you what it is, but the steel that they're made of, it holds up well to being used in that manner. Is it proper? No, but we're talking about what do you have to get done, and what do you have to get it done with. So you got to take care of these things. There are multiple uses. Right now I'd like to switch a little focus here because I'd like to throw out a little bit of a challenge to my viewers. In this series, I'd like to give a challenge at the end of every video. This happens to be an 80 grit, self-sticking, just pad. It's a sandpaper pad. It's self-sticking. So I'm going to give you the sandpaper pad, a piece of cardboard, and I'm going to give you a toothbrush. And I'm curious, what kind of mental stability could you actually get from having just these three items? You could use your knife. You can use any other cutting implement that you would like to make whatever you'd like. Remember, this is a self-sticking. It will stick to the cardboard. It will stick to the toothbrush. But I'd like to hear what you guys have in mind of what you could do to make your family happy. I will remind you that I have 3 girls, and certain things are important to girls. At that point, I am a person who is very finicky about what I would do with this particular material because it affects me a lot. So I would love a response on what you think you could do with sandpaper, a piece of cardboard, and a toothbrush. The other thing I'd like to do in this series is I'd like to open everybody's mind. Now what I have here is just a piece of junk wood, which happens to be the piece of wood that I was chopping on this is going to be used in the project. Ironically enough, it's being used in a project for this video. What I have is 1 nail put in there, and I have 6 nails in my hand. And I realize there's hundreds of videos online about this. But it's something to occupy your mind when there's issues in life. You're running low on food. You're running low on water. You need to break the monotony of what's going on. And you really want to try to get yourself back to where you can be the leader of your household to where they can still survive. So just something to think about. You know, I've taken 6 nails and I've put them on 1. And as I said, there's hundreds of videos of this online. But something as simple as this can break up what you're trying to do in your daily and to help you refocus so that you can go out and you can regather. You can regather your food. You can regather your water. You can regather your family time. Get that love back so that everybody stays together and everybody stays fighting as one. Because as they've always said, you know, together we stand and divided we fall. I want to thank you all for watching, and I really want to thank you all for your support. McTucky 1 out.